want to go from this to this. This tutorial is part 1 of a new and improved version of my previous render tutorial. It goes more in depth and takes things slower. This video is a preview of the full tutorial. The full tutorial has several minutes of more material. If that interests you, you can watch the full video on my Patreon. Now without further ado, let's get this show on the road. This tutorial will cover exporting a sim, using TS4 Sim Ripper, and the basic Blender setup. Once you have your game open, you can either click New Game, or Load Game. You can use New Game, if you want to start a completely new save. Or Load Game, if you want to use a pre-existing save. Either choice is fine. I'm going to make a new save. Now you can make a sim, or load one from your library. If you have more than one sim, that's fine. I'm going to get my sim from the library. This sim has texture overlapping issues. You can see the plaid shirt is overlapping on the tank top. The beautiful thing about renders is, this can easily be fixed. We'll come back to this later. Once you're done with making your sims, you can click play. It doesn't matter what season or world you pick. Place your household in any lot. Then save, or save as. TS4 Sim Ripper is located on Mod The Sims. This program is only for Windows, there is no Mac version available. To download, click on the Files tab. Then click the first link. Save the zip file. Then navigate to where the zip is saved. Extract the zip file. After extracting, a new folder will be created. In that folder, double-click the TS4 Sim Ripper executable. Once TS4 Sim Ripper is open, you are going to click Select in the top right. This will open your Saves folder. You'll want to select the most recent save. Select the save, then click Open. Once you find your sim, double-click their name to load. This program may take a while when it comes to loading. When my sim loads, I like to change some settings. In the top right, change single mesh and texture to solid and glass meshes and textures. Change texture size to HQ. When you are ready to export your sim, click the day option in the top right. Then save the file. When it's done saving, you're ready for Blender. Welcome to Blender. I'm using 2.93, but you can use any version of Blender. My previous tutorial covers how to use multiple versions of Blender, if you need help with that. First, I'm going to delete the cube since I don't need it. I make sure it's selected by checking to see if it has an orange outline. If for some reason it's not selected, you can right or left click the cube. Or you can go to the outliner on the right side, which lists all the objects in the scene. Then left click Cube to select it. Now I'm going to delete the cube by placing my cursor back on the main window. You can also hover over the outliner. Then pressing the delete key on my keyboard. You can also right click on the cube in the outliner and click delete as well. Now to import the sim. In the top left, go to File, Import, Collada.day. Navigate to where you saved your exported sim file. Click the file, then click Import in the bottom right. You should now see your sim. I'm pressing 1 on my numpad to rotate the camera, then zooming and using my middle mouse scroll. Then now holding down, Shift plus middle mouse, to move the camera around. In the outliner, you can see new objects were added. I like to make a new collection, to keep the sim objects organized. I'm right-clicking on Scene Collection, then clicking New Collection. Double-clicking Collection 2 allows me to rename it. Now I'm going to right-click Rig and click Select Hierarchy. This selects the rig plus all the objects connected to it. I'm going to click Rig and drag it to the new collection I created. Don't forget to save your project. Now I'm going to create a new window to work in. Putting my cursor in the top left corner of my main window, I'm clicking and dragging. It's time to start editing the materials. In the top left corner of the left window, there should be a little icon, above Object Mode. Click the icon, then click Shader Editor. The Shader Editor is where you'll do the majority of your material creation and editing. Now I'm going to right-click the body of the sim in the right window. You'll see in the shader editor the material setup for this object. Back in the right window, in the top right you'll see 4 icons. These change how this window renders the viewport. I'm going to click the third option, Material Preview. Now I can see the textures. But everything is overly shiny. To fix this, I'm going back to the shader editor. Holding down Shift plus middle mouse to drag the window. In the bottom left you'll see a box that says Specular. The specular map controls the shine. You also need to set the color space of the specular to non-color. You can leave the base color as sRGB. In the specular box there should be a little yellow circle next to color. You're going to click that circle and drag the line to the circle next to specular. Now both speculars are connected and the sim is less shiny. We still have to fix the hair and lashes. Right-click the hair and it should select the glass mesh. The glass mesh contains all transparent meshes. Example, hair, lashes, and etc. In the shader editor I'm going to connect the speculars again. In the base color box I'm going to connect the alphas. On the right side, I'm going to go to the Material tab. If you're using Eevee, scroll down until you see Settings. For cycles, it's going to be Viewport Display. Blend Mode is what you'll be using to enable the transparency. You can use any of the alpha options. And that's it for the basic setup. The next tutorial will cover fixing the overlapping textures. I hope this tutorial was helpful. As previously mentioned, this was only a preview and the full video is on my Patreon. If you subscribe you'll get access to this tutorial and all the others in the Sims 4 Plus Blender series. There are a lot of good tutorials planned, so don't miss out.